Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to Season 3 and episode number 268 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. Yeah. Today, recording day, is Thursday, December 7th, 2023. And I have no idea what kind of day it's going to be at the Beaver Lodge because, to be totally honest, I rolled out of bed 10 minutes ago. Seriously. I had one of those weird nights where I had this running dream that lasted all night long. That was really weird and quite vivid. So, yeah, I actually don't know. Well, I assume I slept because it was a dream, but I don't know how deeply I slept because I'm extremely tired. I literally ran throughout the
You might
entire
have had might have been too much REM sleep. That'll happen if you get too much REM. You're exhausted the next day, so it's weird.
Oh, man, we were
You
weird.
can sleep 12 hours and feel like you haven't slept a sec. The body's
Mhm.
complex.
We are also supposed to have a guest pop in, but there may be issues at home.
Complication?
So complications, yeah.
It happens.
They were coming in very quickly, but they're going to a medical appointment with one of their children. So yeah, when getting kids ready for school and stuff, things happen.
Life.
Yeah. So I haven't heard anything yet, so hence the welcome, Holly. But if not, we'll find another moment.
Yeah.
So, but big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. We have enabled for you today, but before we do anything else, let's say hello to you, Mr. Grizzly, and ask how your mental health is doing today, sir.
Well, good morning, Mr. Beaver. My mental health, I think I'm doing pretty good today, actually. You do recall last week I was
Yes.
like I felt physically ill. I had a stomach thing. My head was pounding. I was just feeling terrible. And then the end of the week rolled around and I started to feel better. And by Friday morning, I was feeling like myself. And then, had a very busy weekend. And then Monday, traveling all day. So I was a little rough on Tuesday because, look, even when the time change is only 2 hours, traveling, going in and out of airports, getting in and on planes, it's exhausting. It really does physically drain you. So here we are, Thursday morning, and I'm feeling good. Like
I'm
physically good,
feeling
emotionally good, mentally good, like just good. Not great, but good. And I'll take good over bad any day of the week.
Absolutely.
I'm very contented this morning. Let's put it that way. So yeah, I'm doing good.
I like that. Yay,
Me too.
contented Mr. Grizzly.
I like being able to say that. Although I am admittedly a little fired up over the responses I've read online about the Conservatives voting against a food program for children in schools, and the commentary from a cadre of ghouls.
Yeah.
Well, parents should feed their own children. You dumb idiots. It's for those who can't, and those who are neglectful, and those who aren't good parents. That's what we're trying to take care of. But the typical conservative mindset, well, there's a few people that might not deserve this, so nobody gets it. Starve everyone. Fuck you. We're talking about feeding children in school.
Yeah. And even if you could afford it, right,
Mm-hmm.
eating and making sure that you have a full belly is so vital
Yes.
to being able to learn. Having a good, nutritious meal. Particularly,
You can't learn on an empty stomach. You cannot.
Particularly if you're in school before 5,
Mm-hmm.
and then the years from 5 to 7, as Joanna Johnson, Unlearn 16, tweets, says 5 to 7 when the personality is forming and
Yes.
gets locked in. It's why wouldn't you just have that as part of it?
Well, one of the
Regardless
comments I read,
of need.
we're not going to let the state tell our children what to eat. We're going to feed them ourselves. I'm like, you're missing the point, you dumb fuck. Are you willfully ignorant?
We
Like,
already
what
let
the
the state tell us what to eat. Have you never heard of the Canada Food Guide?
This is what I don't get. It's either willful ignorance or blissful hatred. One of the. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, and we
How
just
are
saw
they
in
feeding
Alberta.
children.
You know, and we just saw in Alberta that the government does do it, but they had an issue, especially with preschool children, when basic safety wasn't taken care of, and kids got renal failure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have to do it, and you have to do it well. Exactly, Kitland. You're from your pro-life party, except not after they're born.
Yeah, they're pro-birth, not pro-life.
Oh, so I mean, I just don't understand this. And in October 2019, from the Coalition for Healthy School Food, it says, there's an article here, support is across political parties for school food programs. At the federal level, during the selection campaign, we've been hearing commitments and support for school food across party lines. Nourishing Canadian students is an issue that everyone can get behind. The NDP became the first national political party to cost out school food program. The NDP fiscal plan committed $200 million to a healthy meal program for children in 2020-2021, growing to $300 million in 2024. That was on page 64 of the NDP's platform of the last election, where they stated New Democrats will partner with provinces, territories, municipalities, and Indigenous communities to work towards a national school nutrition program that will give every child in Canada access to healthy food and the food literacy skills to make healthy choices for life. The Green Party platform had it on page 38. In response to Food Secure Canada and Dietitians of Canada questions, the Liberal Party confirmed their commitment made earlier that year, 2019, in the Liberal government's March 2019 budget. In response to Food Secure Canada questions, the Bloc Québécois responded that school food is a provincial matter and they would be seeking more transfers for education and social services for Quebec and the provinces in order to be able to establish one. While it has not appeared in the Conservative Party platform, this is October 30th, 2019, a number of Conservative Party candidates have expressed their support for the concept of providing good, healthy food in schools, with several Conservative MPs committing to a national cost-shared program. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that every single Conservative MP voted against it.
Yes.
What changed between October 30th, 2019 and yesterday?
They needed to, be contrary.
They campaigned on it.
I know.
So they said they were for it, except for when it comes time to actually do it.
I've got your back.
Except this wasn't, of course, a full party commit. It was just several MPs here and there, and they didn't care enough about it to put it in their platform. So I guess you could have seen this coming. But the ones that vocally told people to get that moment of press, that nanosecond of good press, what happened to them? Those either
told them to vote against it, and they all fell in line like the pack of barking seals that they behave like on a daily basis in the House of Commons.
Exactly. Either that happened or, or they just, I can't really see any other thing. And it was a question that someone asked on another vote at some point. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but someone asked, did Pierre Poilievre bully you into voting this way? I think it was on Ukraine. I think it was Shannon Stubbs too, if I'm not mistaken. And she responded, "Oh, we supported this, blah, blah, like this," but then she wrote a long screed, but nowhere in there did she respond to why it is she suddenly changed and whether or not she was whipped. So this has been a promise from the federal government for nearly 2 years. Everybody was wondering what was the delay. The pledge was left out of the 2023 federal budget. So people were really wondering, hey, what the heck? So the Coalition for Healthy School Food Coordinator Debbie Field said in a post-budget statement, in a budget of billions of dollars, why social policy would have included the Liberal election platform's $1 billion commitment over 5 years to advance the national school food program. Such an investment would have also reduced pressures on families' budgets. Well, it seems that the Liberals heard that.
Well, here, look at this.
Because, could you please get on that? And that was in April, and it wasn't anywhere in the budget, and they did. Don't know why it took so long, but it did.
So voting against healthy meals for kids, that's what Pierre Poilievre's Conservatives did today. Now, let's just scroll down this feed, okay? Yeah, we want the carbon tax off so we can actually feed our kids ourselves, you commie. My response was, with the City of Calgary study that proves the only people that will benefit from the lack of a carbon tax are the wealthy.
Yep. Which again proves another conservative principle.
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. We're going to give to those who have less so that they can have a better life. Oh, well, we can't have that.
Can't have that.
Can we?
This one, Talib, who feeds your kids? We do not want our children to be institutionally fed. The state will decide what your child eats. No, thank you. Ghoul, by your metric, you would rather let children starve than have the federal government feed them. Not everyone has the means to feed their children. There's a much bigger picture here. Look past your own nose. Parents are in charge of providing healthy meals to their children, not the responsibility of the government. The government should promote better jobs for Canadians. And this is exactly what the Conservatives want to do. That way, the parents will be able to feed their children at the same time by reducing the taxes. Parents will have more money in their buckets and will be able to feed their children. Jesus, you ghoul. The Conservatives will destroy all social programs, unions, and make sure the oligarchs that own them pay their serfs, us, as little as possible. You're either willfully ignorant or very naive to believe the lies they tell you. And let's just scroll down here to this one. This is the best one here. This arsehole. This you, sweetie? School food programs left waiting for Liberals to make good on $1 billion promise for national plan. Isn't that what they just fucking did? That's not a got you. What the fuck is wrong with people?
Yep. Now, according to the Liberal platform, back at the time, they were saying that there's about 3 million children that are living without guaranteed access to nutritious school meals.
3 million.
Now, this doesn't mean 3 million children who are going hungry. They're just without guaranteed access to nutritious school meals. A few months later, the pledge did make it to the mandate letters of Agriculture and Agri-Food Minister Marie-Claude Bibeau and the Minister of Families and Children and Social Development, Karina Gould, who currently is pregnant. So maybe that had something to do with the fact that they got on that. They had consultations, of course, in between November and December 2022. And I guess this finally came to pass. But here's the thing. Canada is the only G7 country without a national school food program.
That's embarrassing. That's really embarrassing. And look at
just like we were the only nation without a national housing strategy up until 2017.
Yes. And here's the absurdity, the absurd response. If you can't feed your own kids, you're not fit to be a parent. That's kind of the point. What are they going to do,
put the kids back?
Well, that's kind of the point. Not a kid's fault if their parents can't provide everything they need. Like, what kind of a stupid fucking idiot says something? If you can't feed your kids, you're not fit to be a parent. Yeah, okay. What are you going to do about it? You're going to let them starve then? You can't put them back. You can't send them. What, you're going to give them up? Like what kind of a fucking... I'm really fired up about this morning.
I can see that.
It's children we're talking about, and these fucking assholes are trying to score political points by making hay out of children not getting fed. Or getting fed in this case. I do not understand humanity some days. I just want to go around and smack every single fucking one of them until I knock some sense into them. I'm not going to do it, but wanting to do it is a different thing. Because sometimes you see somebody who just needs a smack in the back of the head. Smarten up. The fuck is wrong with you? You gonna let children starve? Fuck you. Pro-life, eh? Pro-life. You're pro-birth. Nothing more. Nothing more. Oh, I'm mad about this. Let's bombard Skippy's office with letters about why he is a fucking ghoul for voting against feeding children.
Okay.
I told you, I'm pissed off right now.
All right. There is, interestingly, absolutely nothing about this vote on the CBC's politics page.
Nope, nothing.
This morning. But the Conservatives are really preoccupied with getting Greg Fergus, Canada's first Black speaker, to resign, and declaring Christian Heritage Month, but apparently not with feeding kids.
Yeah.
Oh, and also with tabling thousands of amendments to keep Parliament sitting over Christmas to deny everyone else time to spend time with their children until he gets his way on the carbon tax, when he knows he's politically impotent on that. So again, he's going to spend, if there's thousands of amendments, I assume tens of thousands of Canadians' dollars keeping Parliament open, salaries, benefits, photocopies, lights, staff, on a whole bunch of amendments to make a non-point because neither the Bloc nor the NDP will support him. They want to go home too.
Yeah.
So he's denying parents. He wants to deny parents a chance to be with their kids.
Well, and at the same token, doesn't he have 2 toddlers at home?
Yeah. So I get, yeah. Will he be there for all of it? I'm just... How could a nation, how could one political party not vote for a national food program and it doesn't even get an article?
Yeah. Nothing. Like, this is just astonishing to me. How is that even possible? There's nothing on it. We're talking about feeding children. Children.
I'm looking at CTV's website as well. Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. It's so embarrassing. I'm guessing this is a really big deal.
It's a massive deal.
I do not understand whatsoever.
I don't either.
You got government House Leader Karina Gould talking about Pierre Poilievre's plan to keep everybody in the House for longer. Quote, "We're going to put in thousands of amendments at committee and in House of Commons, forcing all night round-the-clock voting to block your $20 billion of inflationary spending." Sorry, this is Pierre, not Karina. $20 billion of inflationary spending and the rest of your economically destructive plans until you agreed to our demand to take the tax off farmers, First Nations, and families. He's going to hijack Parliament.
Mm-hmm. So the first reading was in March 9th, 2023 for this. An act to develop a national framework to establish a school food program. That was the first. Second reading completed on December 6th. Mm-hmm. And I will put a link of the text to the bill in the chat here for anybody who is curious.
Now, Gould said about this Poilievre stunt, Poilievre that what he's threatening is not leadership and accused him of doing this for his own personal aggrandizement. Quote, "It will affect Canadians because what he is doing is putting thousands of amendments on notice for things like Sustainable Jobs Act. That's an 11-page bill. His party has put almost 20,000 amendments on it, on an 11-page bill.
20,000 amendments?
That's what they've been working on, yeah. And what are those amendments? They're all jokes. They're about amending the title. They're about amending specific words. He's not threatening to hold Parliament hostage, but Canadians, because he's a bully, and that's what he's trying to do right now.
Mm-hmm.
And this summer, Poilievre threatened to filibuster the federal budget bill by calling hundreds of dilatory motions. Voting his caucus was ready to work all summer long. So it's literally the same play. I'm going to work all holidays long. Ultimately, his party agreed to adjourn the spring sitting 2 days early. So he got all the press. We're going to keep you here all summer long if you won't impose our budget over yours, which again, he's politically impotent to do because the Conservatives seem to have forgotten that you need to work with other parties unless you get an exclusive majority, and no party wants to work with them because they take positions like being against a national school program. So he's like strutting there going, I'm going to force you to do, you can't force him to do anything at all.
He's impotent.
In the
He has no
House, you
power.
can't force them.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to work with you. You've made yourself so unlikable. Your party has had policies that are so unsupportable that nobody wants to work with you. The Prime Minister said, it turns out the only farming the Conservative Party cares about is rage farming. Ooh,
Yes, I saw
that's
that.
a nice
It was
little
good.
dig considering what they're doing about that. Pull the carbon tax off farmers so we can feed our.
Okay.
All of this was just an attempt to fundraise off the back of farmers. We have an opposition leader so ideologically opposed to protecting the planet that he's willing to take Parliament hostage. The leader of the opposition has threatened to ruin the holidays if his ideological demands are not met. Let us be clear, we will keep working for Canadians while the Conservative leader is only fueled by the sound of his own voice.
Yeah.
It is true.
I saw that exchange, and the Prime Minister stood up in the House and said he's only rage farming, and I went, oh. Shot across the bow. I was surprised. I mean, look, they've been ignoring him, I think, for far too long, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And letting him get away with his lies and his bullshit. And now they're like, okay, enough of this. Enough. And I think Canadians are starting to understand the lies that he tells. And he shot himself in the foot on the Rainbow Bridge car accident, calling it a terrorist act before anybody had said that other than Fox News. Well, CP, which CTV works for. No, they said it 15 minutes after you did in the House. And then he got called out on that and tried to backpedal on that and flat out lied. And Robert Fife called him a liar on television. So when that happens, when you've lost Fife, bro, throw in the towel. You're finished.
Yep, indeed.
He will not be in power by the time the next election comes along. It's not going to happen. He just keeps own-goaling himself every damn day.
Yep. We have Michelle Ferreri, the alleged single mother of 6 children. She voted against it.
Yeah.
6
The
kids.
entire party did.
Voted against it. And again, I'm going through Twitter
Mhm.
and I put National Food Program and I'm going through everything. Not one news article.
No, not a single one. Nothing. That's astonishing to me.
And according to the Toronto Star, on August 30th, food insecurity among Canadian school-aged children jumps by nearly 30%, just as kids went back to school.
So we're doing something about it, but nobody's talking about it.
I just... why I don't understand the vote, and I don't understand why this wasn't a subject that was important enough for the media to actually cover it.
I don't know. I don't know. It's like, why is this not being covered? Why? CBC, CTV? Why are you not covering this? Global? What's going on? Is our children not worth, a national food program for children in school? That's not significant enough story to report on?
I just,
And look, I know a lot of people hate the PM, and that's fine. I don't care if you love him, hate him, or despise him. I don't care. You have to understand something very important here. And we've discussed this before, Mr. Beaver. This is a transformational government akin to Lester B. Pearson, minority government who got a lot of stuff done.
right.
A lot. I mean, $10 a day daycare, the child poverty, child tax benefit so you can get children out of poverty, a national food program, a national drug program, a national dental care program. Well, pharma's not there yet, but it will be.
Mm-hmm.
This is a transformational government. Like it or not, I don't care what your political stripe is. You have to acknowledge that a lot of good has been done by this government. And again, as I've said time and time again, I have never voted for Justin Trudeau. I don't live in his riding, so I can't. That's sort of an inside joke for those of us who understand how our system works.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed.
Look, I'm
And
sorry I was so upset at the top of the show, but
no, it's right to be upset. It's
I'm not going to hold back on something like this. I need people to understand how wrong it is that the leader of the loyal opposition and his entire party voted against a food program to feed children, a national program, because not every municipality has it. It's like James said in the chat, his municipality takes care of the kids. They get lunch. Not every municipality has the budget for that. Not every province is, well, most of them are run by conservatives, and they're not funding anything except for their wealthy developer buddies, as evidenced by what's taking place at Ontario Place here in this province. So a national program to feed children is a good thing.
It's absolutely a good thing.
And I'm speaking from a place of somebody who never went without a meal as a child, ever.
Same here.
Ever. I never knew what it was like to go hungry.
Now, I speak from a position of having a mother who would go without to make sure I did have a meal.
Même chose pour moi. Même chose pour moi.
And here's the other thing. If kids are getting a nutritious lunch at school, we're talking about like take the carbon, that's more than the carbon tax you pay in a day, the value of that. And that's money you don't have to pay at home, whether you're rich or poor, that you can invest in providing your child with a better breakfast and supper.
Exactly.
Or if it was a national school breakfast program, then a better lunch and supper.
That's right.
One or the other.
And a lot of places do have a breakfast program. And then, they have a lunch program as well. But the breakfast program, I think, is very, very important because a kid goes to school hungry. You feed him before you start to teach him. You can't learn on an empty stomach.
As far as I'm concerned, schools should be providing the breakfast and the lunch.
Agreed.
It's in the interest of the country, especially long-term interest if you're playing the long game, to make sure that everybody that is in a school bench is in the best situation to learn. If that means we need to take over feeding them because our 24/7 fast world makes it such that parents let's forget neglect or unable. People are busy. People are busy. Gone are the days where mom wakes up at 5 or 6 in the morning and makes pancakes and oatmeal and like for everyone. Yes, where that happens everywhere.
Yeah, it's just not the
When
case.
I was in school, that didn't like for breakfast. Yes, when I was living with my mom stuff. But from the time I could like pour cereal into a bowl and make toast, those days were over. Those days were over.
Well,
and how many kids, especially young girls, when they hit their teenage years, decide they're going to skip breakfast?
Oh, yes. Right? Psychological effects. So,
That's not good. It's like, make sure the kids eat.
Yeah.
You make,
Well,
There's no
it's one of
reason to
those
be
things.
against this. There's no reason to be against this.
None. And simply, well, it's not that bad if the kid goes hungry, you can still. No, he can't. You tell me right here, right now, that you can skip your lunch while you're working in your job, whatever it is, wherever you're working. Skip your lunch and work right on through. Don't eat anything. Tell me how you feel around 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock when you haven't had anything to eat since breakfast. Or if you're like me, for breakfast, this is my breakfast. I can't eat first thing in the morning because it makes me nauseated. I can't. I simply can't. If I eat, my head's in the toilet. I've been like that since I was about 15. And I would eat a bowl of cereal and then get to school and be... So please tell me, if you skip your lunch, and why don't we let's all skip lunch today. Let's all fast today. We'll all skip lunch and see how we feel at 3 o'clock. And then we'll write a letter to our member of parliament and let them know. You know what? I tried one day without lunch. I tried one single day. And guess what? I couldn't accomplish anything by about 2 in the afternoon because I was hangry. I was tired. I couldn't concentrate.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody had a conversation with me in a meeting and I don't remember any of it. Yeah, that's how it works. You go without food, you cannot function. So how are you supposed to teach children whose brains and bodies are slowly developing? They can't learn if they're starving. It's just... I'm just blown away by this. I'm blown away by the whole fact that it's not national news. I'm blown away by the fact that people voted against this. And they're gonna find something slim in there to make hay out of it. Kind of like they did with Ukraine and the carbon tax, which was a flat-out lie.
Mm-hmm.
They voted against the Ukraine trade deal because they said he's going to force a carbon tax. No, he wasn't. There's no carbon tax in there. There's none. And a matter of fact, if they want to be part of the EU, their carbon levies are stricter than the ones we have here in Canada. And Ukraine has had a program since 2012. So, like, what is their excuse for this? What is their excuse for this, for voting against it? What is their reasoning for it? I really want to know because I can't figure it out.
Yeah. Now, the other bit of news that came out yesterday was the Auditor General of Ontario's report into Deptford with a whole bunch of things. And there were highlights from there. 1 in 5 emergency visits involved patients going to the ER for non-urgent issues because they didn't have a family doctor or access to other services. Between 2018-19 and 2022-2023, Northern hospitals increased usage of nurses from staffing agencies by 25 times. The agencies charged 3 times the rate of an hourly nurse, compared to an increase of about 2.5 times for hospitals in the rest of the province. Between July 2022 and June 2023, there were more than 200 unplanned temporary emergency department closures involving 23 hospitals, mostly in rural or remote areas, and mostly due to nursing and doctor shortages. Nursing and doctor shortages led to obstetric services closing at 10 hospitals in the north between July 2022 and September 2023. Emergency room patients wait on average 2 hours to be assessed by physician, up 30 minutes in the last 10 years, and wait more than 24 hours if they require an inpatient bed. The government made decisions about the Ontario Science Centre's move to Ontario Place with preliminary and incomplete cost information and insufficient input from key stakeholders. The government made significant changes to energy, land use planning, and housing policies without enough environmental consultation.
Mm-hmm.
International students account for 18% of York University's total enrollment, but almost half its revenue.
Yeah.
And now you got conservatives going all around saying, no, send those kids back. If they need to use a food bank, kick them out. And then how do you fund the universities?
I'm going to send you backpacking because of the problem that I created and will do nothing about to solve.
Yeah. And then we got Skippy going around saying 2 million people have to go to the food bank simply because of Trudeau's carbon tax, but he won't feed the kids at school.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those international students, other conservatives, are saying, hey, if you participated in a protest, of course they mean only for Palestine, because I guess if you're not a Canadian citizen but you participate in a pro-Israel protest, this won't apply to you. according to them. Well, send them back too. Well, gee, that's sending back a lot of people now. You want to keep those universities open? I mean, the provinces definitely don't want to fund it from provincial money. Clearly.
No.
In 2022, drivers who received 2 more suspensions in the previous year had a fatal collision rate 6 times higher than the general driver population. Ontario eliminated certain maneuvers from driver exams, such as parallel parking and 3-point turns, to reduce backlogs caused by COVID-19, but the reduced test still remains in place long after the delays were cleared.
Does that seem like a good idea to you?
Nope. Especially considering how many people have difficulty with parallel parking.
To begin with.
Right. Only 35% of the aggregate pits and quarries where sand and gravel and stone and rock needed for construction are gathered. That the auditor's office reviewed had been inspected by the Minister of Natural Resources and Forestry in the last 5 years. The Metro Toronto Convention Centre and the Ottawa Convention Centre have lost the opportunity to host 19 events since 2018 that could have brought an estimated $52 million in economic impact to the regions because they had set their bid price too high. And it just continues. The Auditor General's comments, particularly about health and the Ontario Science Centre's move to Ontario Place, combined with a couple of other decisions that were made this week, or the past couple of weeks, such as to make Mike Ford the person who would approve certain things with housing, and then passing a few bills with only 1 hour of debate, which I guess has more to do with more plots of lands and different types of things, led the Premier of Ontario, who had a lot to say about Bonnie Crombie, to make an interesting decision. Now, let's hear what he said about Bonnie Crombie. And this is Sid Seixseiro who says this. And he's saying something that we have been saying on the show for the longest time. Don't vote for people who insult your intelligence and treat you like you're stupid.
And here's the thing. Sometimes I see eye to eye with Sid, and other times I don't. But I respect the fact that he speaks from the heart, off the cuff. Let's have a look at this.
To watch this play out yesterday as Bonnie Crombie comes in, current mayor of Mississauga and future full-time leader of the provincial Liberals, I was absolutely stunned. Take another look. I can't believe it's real.
This is a leader that said no to removing tolls, no to scrapping the license plate stickers, no to cutting taxes. Do you know why? Because their leader was too busy flying around in the private jet of her buddy, the developer, that everyone knows who this developer is, and it's going to come back to haunt her, flying around in the private jet, going to her $5 million estate in the Hamptons. She's out of touch with the average person.
I don't want us to be distracted because this is the Ford government's attempt to distract from the issues at hand. They are flailing, they are desperate, and tomorrow they expect a very negative Auditor General's report, so they're trying to change the channel and put the focus on me, whereas the focus should be on them.
That was one of the more ridiculous things I've heard this Premier ever say, and there's a list. But that one was at least on the podium. That's top 3.
Her response was calm, measured. I think when you get personal like that and you start to go for that, it is distractive ultimately, and it is not really the issue at hand.
That was a masterclass yesterday from Bonnie Crombie. An absolute masterclass dealing with one of the more ridiculous I'm just going to say this very clearly, because the last time I was on air and I said, don't talk to us like we're dumb, was when the Greenbelt story was being denied left and right. People need to really start listening to me. Do not talk to us like we're dumb. And about 2 months after I said that, 2 ministers were gone from this Conservative government and their chiefs of staff. Where's Steve Clark now? Where is he now? People need to start listening to my voice on this. Ford's doing it again. That is a lazy, ridiculous argument, considering there are multiple reports that you have buddies at Buck and Doe's and weddings who are developers and everything. And there's an RCMP investigation, for goodness sake.
Well, but how?
So I'm supposed to buy this line? Boy, they think we're dumb, don't they?
He nailed it. He nailed it.
He's
absolutely dead bang on.
So he talks about her.
I'm going to say Bonnie Crombie, he was right about that too.
Yep. So he talks about her riding on a plane with the developers. He of the gravy plane with the OPP, and he was like so close to developers you can't tell them apart. He talks about her going to her house in the Hamptons. That's not actually in the Hamptons.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody put an interesting post about that. If you've ever watched The Real Housewives of New York, you'll know that they don't want to go to the place where Bonnie Crombie's house is, allegedly in the Hamptons, because it's not sushi enough for them. It's too lowbrow. It's a house she inherited from parents. While he's frequently MIA at his cottage in Muskokas.
Yes.
Which he announced yesterday he was going to until after Family Day in February. December, January, February.
Yeah.
Past
basically
halfway
3
mark.
months. Yeah.
He's just going to vanish again. Oh, but don't worry, he'll be on the phone, which is, Mr. Grizzly?
His skidoo in the winter and his sea-doo in the summer. That's what he calls them, the phone.
24/7.
Yeah.
So, somebody, the Auditor General comes out and it's like, yep, see ya, bye. And I'm going to hiding. Until mid-February. Yeah. And that, it's just, can you talk about projection here?
Well, and did you notice how, and I'm going to take a page from my own book here, exasperated Sid was? Like, I mean it. I'm not trying to joke. He was completely exasperated, which I am all the damn time because of stuff like that.
Just,
yeah.
I'm like, I do not know what it is about this particular movement, but we got Poilievre voting against a national food program. We've got him voting against a Ukraine Free Trade Act, telling us that the reasons are what we all know what the reasons cannot possibly be. We have Doug Ford pulling this kind of crap. We've got Daniel Smith out at COP28 while there's a big grass fire in Alberta saying, buy more oil. We got Blaine Higgs and Scott Moe oppressing kids, invoking the notwithstanding clause because parental rights, but clearly not all parents. What is we are being treated like we're dumb. We're being treated like we're inconvenient. We're just another thing for them to get around or get by.
Mm-hmm. Don't talk to us like we're dumb. We're not. We see you. We know what's going on. We know what you're trying to pull. But the absolute audacity of Doug Ford to say that.
And he still hasn't called her to congratulate her.
No.
Standard operating procedure when there's a new leader.
Mm-hmm.
They came out with those attacks right off the bat, but no.
Maybe he's jealous of her hair.
That's just... And then there's something we forgot to mention yesterday.
Oh.
But yesterday was December 6th.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the 34th anniversary.
Of the Polytechnique.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that did that was MGTOW before we had an abbreviation for it.
Yeah. Incel MGTOW.
And we have a leader of the opposition who wants to be prime minister who caters and coddles.
Mm-hmm.
What happened on December 6th, 34 years ago?
14 women were murdered for being women.
That happens when people coddle and champion this type of movement. I'm just... These are not good people.
No, they're not. They are not good people. They do not have your interest in mind. None.
we reported the other day, life expectancy has been dropping. Now it's dropped everywhere because of COVID,
Mhm.
but nowhere more than in Saskatchewan.
Mhm. Run by a thrice convicted, once. Well, I'm not gonna bring it up.
54. He has a 54% approval rating.
How?
Saskatchewan, he's literally letting you die
I
more
don't
than
understand
any other
that.
premier. You're sitting there with the bowl going, please, sir, may I have some more? You're being abused. It's like Stockholm syndrome.
Oh, yes.
You've been kidnapped and you're in love with your captor. It's political
I don't know what
Stockholm
else it could
syndrome.
be. I don't know what else it could be. Seriously.
What's the... I'm just... When we're at the point that we can't even agree on feeding children so that they can get the best start in life.
Mhm.
Right? When do we decide as a nation that the party that forms allegedly His Majesty's loyal opposition
Allegedly.
does not deserve to be neither, or deserves to be neither, the government nor the opposition, that they deserve some serious time in the sin bin,
Mm-hmm.
like 2 or 3 elections worth, so that they clearly get the message. I just don't get it.
No. No, I don't. I'm
They won't do
baffled.
anything to fight climate change.
Mhm.
So we're either going to choke, drown, burn to death while we're starving.
Welcome to the feudal system, the new feudal system, where us serfs work for our oligarchs. Not feudal lords, but oligarchs.
And then we can go nowhere
Mhm.
if we don't burn to death,
Mhm.
to at least have our burns treated.
Or starve. Burn or starve, but we won't get any treatment because we can't afford to pay for it. Remember debtor's prison? How soon before they try and bring that old nugget back, eh? And of course, with Marilyn Gladue wanting to go full Gilead. These are not good people. They do not have your interest in mind. They don't. And people go, what, the taxes? I'm like, you look at the bigger picture here. Don't get them, don't have them get you to laser focus on a tax that actually will help benefit you in the long run.
A tax, and here's the thing as well, right? What good is lower taxes? Minimally lower taxes. Probably won't even make a difference in your life if you have to pay more than that in insurance. What is the use of removing? I understand a general principle that food producers should not have any carbon taxes. Part of me says I can't disagree with it. The other part of me says is that we're all living on the same planet.
Yes.
And we are all have to breathe the same air. So it doesn't matter what industry you're in. You also, I can see making a case for both. But you know what really drives up the cost of food? Bad growing seasons because of pest infestation or droughts or floods or fires. Because you really want to help farmers? Reduce the likelihood of their crops going underwater or just drying in the field. Yeah, you can remove a couple of cents off of carbon tax or dollars off of carbon tax now. But if they can't grow anything because the climate won't allow it, then what?
There's no
I'm
planet B.
so tired of this party trying to win the nanosecond.
That's all
There
they
is
care
no
about.
long-term plan. Well, there is a long-term plan. It's just not for us.
No, it's not.
And
It is not for us.
and here's the thing: is record fundraising numbers for the Conservative Party of Canada. People are begging them to be abused. Well, at least it's not the Liberals doing it.
I guess.
I just... Canada, Canada, Canada. I'm an optimist, and I always have faith in the voter. But come on here. Come on.
And remember, people, if they're informed, they can make an informed decision. But right now, they're not being informed. They're being lied to daily and not being held to task for the lies. So our job, our duty as people who love and support the idea of democracy is to inform as many people as we can. So yes, it's self-serving when we ask you to share our content. It is. We don't deny that. But it's also serving a greater good. Letting Canadians know what is going on, because they're not getting it from the mainstream media. I mean, case in point, a massive story we started our show off with is nowhere to be seen on any of the major news outlets in this country.
In the 10, 15 minutes I had after I rolled out of bed, I literally came right to the computer and looked up two things.
Mm-hmm.
Conservative vote against a national food program. And I looked up Auditor General Ontario report. And the first three things that came up on the food program was this October 30th, 2019 thing from the Coalition for Healthy Food, a CTV article from April 12th, wondering why it wasn't in the budget, and then a CBC article from October 2nd of this year saying that Canada is the only G7 country without a national school food program. Advocates say it's time, but nothing about yesterday's vote. Then I went to the main page of CBC Politics. It's nowhere. And the main page of CTV Politics, and it's nowhere there.
Mm-hmm. That's really troublesome.
So everybody in Canada who doesn't have time
won't even know about this. Yeah. So
how are they going to know?
Please share this particular episode with as many people as you can, because people need to know that the Conservative Party, the loyal opposition, would rather watch children starve because they voted against a national food program for children in schools. Ghouls. Please share this with as many people as you can, because obviously mainstream media isn't talking about it, and we need people to know what that government represents, what that party represents. They don't care about children. They only care that children are born. That's it. After that, you're on your own. Clearly evidenced by what they voted against yesterday, including, of all people, who I thought was the one decent person in the party, Michael Chong. It's like, dude, you've just sold yourself out completely. No, I'm sorry. You don't get to come back from that with me.
No.
You're dead to me. You are dead to me. You voted against feeding children. Nope, you're dead. You cannot redeem yourself in my eyes, as far as I'm concerned. Ever. Nope. No way. Nope.
I just... boggles my freaking mind.
Yes.
You know me, kids. I'm not the guy who doesn't have words.
And now you're speechless for a change, right?
I'm out of superlatives.
Mm-hmm. Oh no,
I'm out of adjectives. I'm out of, like, when it's like sometimes I turn around and go, oh God, I hate this. No, hate isn't strong enough. I abhor. Yeah, that's it. I've got nothing.
Well, look, here we are. Right here. National Framework for a School Food Program Act. Pierre Poilievre, nay. Michael Chong, nay.
Nay.
Cody Blois, Patricia Laziano, Jamie Battista, all voted yay.
Yep. There were 5 who didn't vote. I don't know it's because they actually do support it and they were whipped, so they were told not to vote, or were just busy.
Who were the 5? Do you know? Do you have the names?
Raquel Dancho, Chris D'Entremont, Randy Hoback, Damien Couric, and John Nater.
I'm not familiar
And that
with
there
any
were
of them.
2 people who weren't there to vote, but they sure made sure to make sure that they're paired with someone that their vote got in. Eric Duncan. Seriously, dude? You're Eric Duncan. We don't hear a lot about him, but he's the other openly out MP who, with Melissa Landsman, shares seats with Garnet Genuis and Brandon Leslie. But he's in the inner circle, so I guess he had to if he wanted to keep his position. And Gérard Deltel.
Dundas, South Glengarry is his riding.
And Gérard Deltel. That'll go over well in Quebec. By the way, that little dip that people were wondering after like all that stuff about the Bloc Québécois, the Conservatives are working with the Liberals are working with the Separatists, and then Rachel Thomas's little thing. You're looking at 338. It's just started. The last 2 reporting periods started to dip down in Quebec. These things will take time nationally because there needs to be an accumulation and people need to see it. But in Quebec, somebody was making the point, yeah, but in Quebec it won't take long. Yeah, in Quebec, once you start doing that kind of stuff, it's pretty much instant.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, I know.
How are we doing for time, Mr. Grizzly?
We got to roll, bro. We got to roll.
All right. Kits, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver show. I'm just we hope that you didn't enjoy listening to this, because we did not enjoy making this one.
Not today. No. This was not a pleasurable act. Today it was about anger and disgust at the loyal opposition, the opposition party in power. Disgust. I don't, and right now I'm running out of superlatives that are, and I mean, I know I dropped some F-bombs, but I have some other ones in mind. I'm just not going to use them.
Of course, Kits, we love you. And audience listening, if you're listening on podcast later, we love you. We love spending time with you. But as Mr. Grizzly says, this...
Not a pleasure.
This is not it.
No.
This is not it. As Mr. Grizzly says, sharing is caring. So please make sure your peeps and poops hear about this one in particular.
Yes, I will. Saucy Witch, I will be working on that later on. She suggested put some shorts together from this, and I will. Once I get a chance when I get home today, I will put some shorts together from this particular episode. Because the shorts reach a really large audience, and that's how it brings more people in. We need to get the message out. I want Canadians to really understand what that party represents.
Yeah. I just, if you want to write to us, True North Eager Beaver at gmail.com to subscribe. Make sure that you don't miss an episode. The Ray Girl has got you covered. That squiggly right by me brings you to our pod page. That's podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words. Go to our YouTube page. Please like, share, subscribe there. We've crossed 480, so we're getting closer. And then, of course, the squiggly by Mr. Grizzly's head there brings you to our coffee page. If you'd like to make a donation to make sure that we can keep on bringing you this content, we would really appreciate that. That's coffeeko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. If you're listening on podcast and you're not watching, clearly you hear the exasperation in my voice.
Seldom do you end a show like this. You're usually very upbeat, even on dark days. But today, I know this has been a lot for you. It's been a lot for me. You're exasperated. I'm pissed off.
Oh, I'm pissed off to don't let my calm demeanor.
No, I know.
It's just, we both can't be yelling, right?
That's the thing.
This will be so. You bring.
I'm the yelling blue jacket guy. You're the calm.
And I try to bring
measured.
the calm, but yeah. If there was a way to get like an emotional X-ray,
you're vibrating internally.
I'm this guy.
Yeah,
I'm this guy right now. It's just
anger doesn't begin to cover it.
When I get very angry, I get very quiet and calm and measured and pointed. That's when you know you've pissed me off. So I don't do volume typically. I have, but I don't. Make customocracy something that you do. If not for this, for what are you going to write a letter? In your own handwriting.
This is the one. This is the one you really need to reach out to your MP, MPP, MLA. Let them know. Well, actually, no, just MPs on this one, because this is just a federal program. So just contact your MP. Let them know.
Ask for a meeting.
Yes.
Ask for a meeting. Yes, and if they're not taking your call, go to the damn constituency office if you can. Show up in person. He's not here today. Well, I'm showing up in person because I want to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that will definitely, if there's anything that hits more than an actual handwritten letter, is that you took time to put shoes and a coat on and go there and say, he's not there? Well, let me give you a piece of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Be respectful.
Yes. And remember, that's just a person who works there, okay? Don't yell at them. Please do not do that. Please do not do that. If your member of parliament is a conservative and they voted against a food program and you can get a face-to-face, feel free to yell at them. Maybe do it in a calmer demeanor like Mr. Beaver and don't go all grizzly blue jacket guy on them, but let them know what you're thinking and how you're feeling and how pissed off you are at this.
Yeah.
You don't want to be escorted out.
No, don't do that.
Don't do that. It helps no one.
But be clear.
Be clear.
All right. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying it could be a tough world out there. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself. Mr. Grizzly, some words of wisdom.
Take a deep breath. Take 10 in a row. It will calm you down. Trust me on this. It's science. And get through your day as best you can, but let people know. Let people know what took place. Let them know how wrong it is that a political party in this country voted to not feed children. I am so fucking mad right now.
I'm at 5 right now.
Keep going. It'll help.
Mr.
I'm going to
Grizzly,
roll the credits.
Roll the credits.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
we'd like to wish Mateo and Rain, Kit Mateo and Kit Rain, good health.
Good health.
They've been a little under the weather.
Mhm.
Yeah. And to the Kit, I don't remember who it is, who said they liked my shirt. I'm just going to take the headphones off and show you a couple of things because T-shirts have a front and a back.
Oh, okay. So
Right,
let's
so-
see. So there's a moon on the front. Is it the moon? I think it's the moon. Isn't it the moon? What does it say? Let's agree to pair agree. Okay. Let's agree to apogee. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I
How
like
can you
that one.
tell me I live with a scientist?
Yeah,
without
no
telling
kidding.
me I live with a scientist.
No kidding.
It was
I have to show the kids something, and I'll read this for the listeners. This is a tweet summed up quite well by a person who I follow, and sometimes they say some things that wow, and oftentimes they say something that I go, yep, I agree with this, and this is one of them. Poilievre is such a great guy that he voted against a national school food program. The same Poilievre that never shuts up about how many people visited food banks this
you
year,
just said that.
or about how people can't afford food. Every time he stands up in the House of Commons, it's all lies and theatrics, and he does it for social media clicks.
Welcome to Consterpiece Theta. And our wish is also for good health to Kit Jazzy. It seems all the kids in the household are not feeling well. Mom and Dad, make sure. Because if they need you, you guys can't be sick too.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
All the love, kids. Try to have a good day.
See ya.